2 minutes because the participants are still joining. So please bear with us. To Mozilla Campus Club and FOSS webinar hosted by the Mozilla Campus Club of SEUSL. I'm Hasarindu Perera. I'll be serving as your moderator for the today's session. So it's my pleasure to introduce our two distinguished guests for today. First, we have Mr. Danushka Chandana, community lead for Sri Lanka, and next, Mr. Lahiru Madusanka, Mozilla representative for Sri Lanka. I would like to extend a special thank you to both of you guests for taking the time to be with us today, despite their busy schedules. The purpose of this webinar is to provide an orientation to the Mozilla Campus Club and the free and open source software community. We'll be hearing from our guest about the goals, values, and the opportunities offered by both of the club and the community. After the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session where you can ask any questions you may have. So I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Danushka Chandana, who will be speaking to our participants about the first community. So Danushka, yeah, over to you.
Okay, sure, thank you. Let me share my screen and can you see my screen clearly?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So we'll start with introducing what is FOSS, what we are doing, and our history for Sri Lanka, and what are the current overviews, and what is our role right now, and how you can join. Like this, those will be our outline today, and Lahiru will be explaining some parts of it. So we'll be doing this together. And first, like already introduced myself by Hasarindu. Hello, I'm Danushka, community lead for Sri Lanka. And introduction to FOSS is mainly, it simplifies, it stands for free and open source softwares. It is all about the softwares we are using nowadays, which is available, free to use, free to share, and free to try out, like that. So that is the main basis. What we are doing here is mainly trying to distribute about those things and knowledge between free and open source software building and the other things coming with it, like how we can network with people, how we expand our solutions, how we expand and discuss our ideas with other people, like that. So those are the kind of main basis when we are thinking about FOSS. It is already, I think you know already, FOSS is already widely spread topic. We know about a lot, how it is grown over decades up until now. Actually, now it is kind of used by everywhere. If you have seen all the big companies around the world, like Microsoft, AWS, like that, whatever you name the company, they do open source contribution and things because they feel this is the way to go in order to achieve more customers and provide a better services, like that. So that is why we are investing some of our time into this one, by spreading the knowledge and by providing more solutions and new tryouts to the world here and there. So that is how FOSS got into us like years back. And after that, we thought to continue with this one. We use open source solutions when we need, and when to use anything, you will find or alternative free and open source solutions and different type of things. It is not always about softwares nowadays. It can be anything now. If you share something about your experience of using open source solutions or how to configure those, like that, even a blog post, now it is counting as open source contributions, like that. That is today's kind of definition and things when it comes to FOSS. And those are the main things we can think when it comes to FOSS. And we will be explaining like what we have done earlier, and we will be explaining how it is connected with for Sri Lanka specifically, because the things I have explained is more aligned with free and open source what is around the world right now. But when it comes to Sri Lankan context, we have some adjustments and our own goals and our role and like that. So we'll be explaining those things to you, so you'll have a better and clear understanding what we are actually trying to do on top of the things which is already in the world under the name of FOSS. So the next part is history of for Sri Lanka. So I would like to uh, give the mic to Lahiru to explain the history of for Sri Lanka, how we have started back then and how we have came back up until here and there like that. Lahiru, can you share some of the experiences and things we have done in the past?
Yeah. Thank you, Danshka. And I hope you all can hear me.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, as Danshka mentioned, for Sri Lanka has been one of the most, let's say, one of the most, if not one of the oldest, like IT-related communities in Sri Lanka. So, basically, our start was around 2003. But if you go back, I think we have some of the content up until 2006, I guess. So some of our older contents have been lost to the ages. So it was really scattered around places. So a few years ago, we started rebuilding the community. We started rebuilding everything. We restarted FOSS community. We restarted Mozilla communities around the country. So we have about, I think, around 20 to 25 communities all around Sri Lanka, all inclusive. So like we have a couple of school communities as well. So it's a massive community with massive overreach. So we have people who are from like just beginning in the technology, like just someone who has been in the first year of the university and up until like company CEOs such as Dr. From the WSO2. So like the owner of the WSO2. So he was one of the founding members of for Sri Lanka, and still he helps us with for Sri Lanka matters, for Sri Lanka guidance and everything as an advisory. And we also have like some of you may already know the Tekata guy, like Kalingaya. He's one of our pillars in for Sri Lanka, and he has been helping us so much. So we have like really good people, really strong people in the community, and most of the for Sri Lanka members and most of the Mozilla Sri Lanka members, they like all the people who started back in days, they are now in a really good position. So we have a really good authority over all the companies and everything. So we have a really good reach in for Sri Lanka. We have really good validation in Sri Lanka as a very stable and very, how would you say that, very strong community in Sri Lanka. So as I have mentioned, we have been slowly rebuilding our community, and I think now it's almost at the top point that we are not rebuilding, we are just adding new communities, like we are adding new community clubs into the for Sri Lanka, as now we are almost like really well established and well developed community in Sri Lanka. So we have a massive following. We have I think over maybe 10,000 something members. So it's really massive in like the whole Sri Lanka level. And as well as we have few sub-communities. So for Sri Lanka now overlooks with the Mozilla Sri Lanka community. For Sri Lanka overlooks the LKRAC, the Ruby user group. For Sri Lanka also overlooks the Linux community in Sri Lanka. So for Sri Lanka acts as more of a, like an umbrella community. So most of our like sub communities are now under the umbrella for Sri Lanka. So for Sri Lanka is kind of like the mother community of all the communities, like all the smaller communities in our like under our umbrella. So if you need more information regarding like history of the for Sri Lanka or some of our past projects, you can go to the blog.foss.lk. I think Dansha, can you open the blog? So we have like really old posts back in like I think 2006, I guess. So things like FOSS on Wheels. So if we go back to like 2006 posts, like the most older one, I think. So it shows May 2018 because that's when I actually re-uploaded everything. So you can see like, uh, yeah. So you can see like FOSS code 2006, Apache Code in Asia 2006. So we have been like really active in the community. We have been like really super awesome in the community. You can even see like the FOSS community logo. It was awarded with the iPad Nano. So the person who kind of designed the older logo, he got an iPad Nano. So I think he also kind of, I think he has migrated away from Sri Lanka. So anyways, so all in all, for Sri Lanka is a really strong and really well-established community in Sri Lanka, and we have a lot of opportunities. So, for example, even almost all of my, if not, yeah, I think almost all of my jobs, I haven't still applied to a single job that I worked at. So, everything, most of the things either came from like community participation, which I did. So, someone saw my community contributions, and someone saw my something I have returned to FOSS or Mozilla or something like that. Then they kind of introduced me to their companies and everything. So I think Danushka, he hasn't applied to the current job that he's working at. It's just something that came to him. Like they found him via LinkedIn, and then they called him because like the contributions and everything, it becomes more transparent, and companies can easily validate that you are actually something. You can do something. You can get a responsibility. You can like let's say you are organizing an event with FOSS or Mozilla or something like that. So when we make it published on any kind of platform, companies can see, yeah, this person can undertake some kind of a leadership role or undertake some kind of responsibility and complete it successfully. So everyone who's like graduating out from a university, they all have the same degree. The grades might be different, but they all basically all have the same degree, and you have to have that little bit of differentiation between yourself and your colleagues and your peers. So FOSS and Mozilla and the like those kind of open source things, those kind of having a really good GitHub profile, having a really good community presence in Sri Lanka, having a really good community presence even overseas, it's a really good thing. So yeah, I think Anushka, did I miss something or?
No, I think you covered almost things like maybe shall we discuss a bit about the activities we have done, events like that, the things we are doing continuously over the years or something?
Yeah. So we usually organize an event called Software Freedom Day every year. So it's one of our main events in Sri Lanka, and we also do Mozilla release parties. So if there is something, let's say, a really big change into the Mozilla browser, we usually organize a party. I think some of you may have already attended the party, maybe 2019, I guess. So if someone was like active at the time, you might have already attended that party and had a piece of cake, like a slice of cake. Uh, then we also do awareness basis events. So we encourage people to use open source software. We encourage people not to use pirated copies of Windows, pirated copies of Office and everything. And we also work with the like government uh, and enterprise stuff. So we advise them to how to reduce the piracy, how to reduce the dependency on like paid software, for example, some kind of a licensed software that they might be using not to the full extent of that software's capabilities. So we would usually, what we do is we would introduce them to a free and open source software like a FOSS version, like free and libre version. And we would guide them, we would help them, and we would teach them how to use that software, and we would help them to kind of fully integrate that software into their pipelines. And we also do a little bit of like community outreach programs, such as this one. So even in universities, even in schools, so if you go back in our like history pages, you might see we have done a lot of community outreach programs, and usually every year every campus organizes a new community outreach program for their first year members, so they can get an update about for Sri Lanka, Mozilla Sri Lanka, and other related communities. And yeah, I think that's it. Dhanushka.
Yeah, thank you, Lahiru, for that. So yeah, simply like you mentioned, like you will meet us a lot with the community programs and community knowledge sharing programs, because as I mentioned, sharing knowledge is one of the main activities and main pillars of FOSS, as it goes like sharing is caring. That is the main thing we can think, and that is one of the main like backbone of the FOSS, because we firmly believe that sharing knowledge is the way to move forward. So that is what we are trying to do on that context. And when it comes to overview of for Sri Lanka, Lahiru mentioned a bit of things like what are we doing right now, what kind of organizations under our umbrella like that. And in addition to that, like within for Sri Lanka, we have several kind of small organizations in order to operate the activities. Like we have separate departments for the designs and content writing activities, and like event organizing and event management activities like that. So simply it is more or less a higher version of any university community you have. So but still we wanted to keep it simple and minimal way. So that is why we are still trying to delegate the tasks and keep everything more transparent between the teams like that. But when we have an event or something like that, a large event or something, we are redefining our structures in order to cater those kind of different requirements. Like we are combining and getting our support from university communities, a large university community we have. That is one of the good points of Sri Lanka, having this large university community. So you are one of them. So we are very happy to have you, and we encourage and appreciate the work you are doing as a campus club community. And right now, on top of those many departments, we are running actually wide range of activities, like about content writing and managing things, as well as we have some programs we have some specific programs for the campus club activities, like ISTAS program and other facilitation program. Because one of the main things as for Sri Lanka we are doing is we are facilitating our university communities to run their communities in a good way, and that is why we are having bi-weekly meetings with our university communities, or whatever you call campus clubs like that. And that is one of the parts we are doing. And apart from that, we have several other projects. Like we have a couple of ongoing internal projects which we are to be released on GitHub, which is still under development for the alpha development phases, but it is still going on. And after that, we are providing our support for the companies by advocating them how can they leverage the features of open source solutions in order to cater their requirements, and so on. That is other part. And on top of that, like I mentioned, we are running some lightning talks for time to time, and as well as we are doing some kind of large events in order to share the knowledge and widely spread the things around FOSS like that. So those are the main stuff we are doing as for Sri Lanka. And whatever the support you need, you can simply contact us and drop us a message in order to get any support. As Lahiru mentioned, we are simply encouraging to use FOSS or like free and open source solutions to cater or handle your day-to-day work like that. So in that means we are discouraging the using of pirate copies and like that. That is one of the things we are spreading. We don't want people to get in troubles by using those things, because nothing comes in free nowadays. So if you fail, that is a different story, but we are trying to encourage and emphasize the thing you can do whatever the things you need while staying in a safe environment like that. So that is the thing we mostly spread with our FOSS communities here and there. So that is the main overview which I can say about for Sri Lanka right now. Some internal kind of things. I'm not gonna explain a lot about that one, but our normal procedures are happening around our small departments and like that in day-to-day activities. But like that, you will be experiencing more when we are having a large event. Also, you will be allocated to different things, and we will request some activities from you like that. And the next one is like role of for Sri Lanka. Like I mentioned, the role of for Sri Lanka is more like providing the necessary support and facilitation to everyone in Sri Lanka simply, but we have separated it into several layers like universities, school students, and professionals like that. But still, the underlying thing and the one we are keep telling is we are trying to facilitate under the FOSS name, like free and open source things for the Sri Lankan people. So that is our main role. That is why we are facilitating and supporting university communities. That is why we are organizing these tech sessions and like that to share the knowledge and awareness like that. So those are the main things we can say. Lahiru, do you want to do a small recap on the things and add if I miss anything here and there?
Yeah, I think you mentioned almost all of the things, and I think we can adjust at URLs for this slide as well. Probably.
Yeah, we have them actually, I guess.
Awesome. So you can just connect with us if you have any questions regarding any of the things which we talked about, or generally any question regarding FOSS or Mozilla or anything like that. And I think Danshka also maybe brushed over that we are currently discussing a program where we are actively working with current like Sri Lankan and international companies to get internship programs to the for Sri Lanka and Mozilla Sri Lanka members. So there will be a separate like a job, not a job board, but some kind of an introduction board where people with stars, like people who have been in the stars program, and we also got recognition or with for Mozilla or something like that, they would have badges enabled in the future. So you would see, like, let's say if you have done a session on some school or something like that, you will be awarded a badge. And once you collect some of those badge, you will be eligible, like we would automatically send your resumes to international companies and everything. And we would we are calling dibs on their internship program. So the first people who would get access to those programs would be usually for Sri Lanka and Mozilla Sri Lanka. So we would try to filter out creme de la top, and we would try to introduce them to the companies as well. So I think that's one part kind of we crossed over, because it's still really under development. So we are a little bit keeping everything under wraps. So, but that's one program that's due in like maybe 6 or 7 months, with like a really massive overhaul for Sri Lanka website as well. I think that's all, Dhanushka.
Yeah, and like one thing to add about the STARS program, so that is kind of a early release of things we are planning, yes. And there more about the STARS program. Like Lahiru mentioned, it is mainly about your contributions and things you are doing actively. Yes, we will be calculating earlier things we have done. We don't forget that. But the other thing is how actively your campus club or community working with us, like their participations, their contributions like that. So if you are part of any university community, encourage their leads to keep connect with us and share the activities and things they are doing like that. So that is one of the main things. It will be reflect on you as a bad experience or good experience, how they are behaving. So make sure your community is actively engaging and keep in touch with for Sri Lanka. So that will be very helpful for you in the future. And like about joining for Sri Lanka, like there's no like defined way. You need to fill this form and submit this and like that, being this receipt, not something like that. So simply what you need to do is you can go to our Facebook page and you can join our WhatsApp community, and you can go to our Facebook page and like those things. So if you join WhatsApp community, you will be getting information and notifications. Yeah.
I'll post the links in the chat
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So,
So simply you can get updates about FOSS community, what we are doing and things like that. But in moreover, if you're able to get into next levels and join our internal community works and like that, so that will be also beneficial for you. But that will be a different process and things. Yes. So the main contact point for university students is through campus club. So that is why I was keep mentioning, like, keep in touch with your campus club and encourage them to be part with us, like for Sri Lanka and Mozilla clubs activities. So that is how you can grow yourself with FOSS here and there. So we were keep telling, like, there's a benefit of doing these things, because and only because it will help you to become a better version of you. It will help you to learn many things. If you are a technical person, it will help you to express your technical knowledge. If you are a technical person with management skills like that, it will help you to more understand how you connect with people and how you expand your network like that. So simply FOSS will make you a different person. So that is the main thing we can tell you. To may the FOSS be with you. And thank you very much for joining. And I think that's the time for questions. Lahiru and myself are ready. If you have any question, or if there's anything you need to know about FOSS or whatever the things we have been explaining here and there. So I think that's the time. Maybe Hasarindu, you can take over and plan the rest of the things as you planned.
Thank you, Danushkaya and Lahiraya, for that informative presentation on FOSS community. So we now have time for any questions you may have. Please use the chat box to type your questions. If you like language එක බැරි එකක් කරගන්න එපා. ඒක ඔයගලන්ට ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් unmute කරලා හරි අහන්න. එහෙම issue එකක් නැහැ.
මේක කවුරු කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. මේ ඔක්කොම තේරුණාද හරියටම? නැත්නම් මේ
Meanwhile, for those who are interested in becoming a volunteer with the Mozilla Campus Club of SEUSL, please fill out the Google form that has been shared with you. You can find it in the chat. Yeah, so you can join the campus club using the below form. And if you want to, is there any way that they can directly engage with the FOSS LK?
In the sense, like, that is the main contact point of, like, WhatsApp community. That is where we are publishing stuff
So,
like that. But if you want to join directly, so that will be more like a next level thing. So time to time we are opening up like the new applicant forms to join with for Sri Lanka. So after that, there will be an interview, and like that, the process is like that. But you will get those information via our Facebook page if you want to join for SELK. But still, like I mentioned, you will be part of your university club, and after that you will be able to connect with FOSS LK for our major events and like that. But still you can write blogs on our FOSS LK blog. You just need to create an account, and you can write things, so we will review it for you and publish it. So I think that will be a good starting point for a new person to start with for Sri Lanka, like not as an internal one, but still it will be a part of for Sri Lanka, and your contributions will be calculated and appreciated. I think it is also same with the Mozilla, right?
So as Tanshka mentioned, we usually publish any and all volunteer requests. So if we need some kind of a volunteer, let's say we are organizing some kind of event, and we need a designer, or we need a content writer, or we need a speaker, or we need some kind of a like a person who's handling things, anything at all. We would usually publish a volunteer request form on our WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, and such. So usually it's WhatsApp group at the moment. So then we would get volunteers, like we usually get at least like 100 to 150 volunteer volunteers each time, and we would go through them, and we would just select best of the best, and we would usually try to give them opportunities, and also we would get help from them for our, let's say, event or some kind of a function or something like that. So it you can directly volunteer for Sri Lanka as well, but as Tanushka repeatedly mentioned, you will be still a member of your local like campus club, and your campus club would be the ideal contact point. So the first thing we would usually do is we would contact campus club captains if we need any kind of volunteer at all. And also, as Tanushka mentioned, if you are like keen on writing blogs, or let's say your campus club is organizing some kind of event, you are doing some kind of an outreach program to one of your local schools, or one of your local, let's say, what's that, IT Silpa side or something like that. So some kind of a place like that. So you can just write a blog post, and just ping myself or Danushka, even your campus club leader, and ask for account access in blog blog.foss.sri Lanka. So for Sri Lanka blog, you can get access, and we would just review that, and we would publish that. And also we usually send out, I think maybe every 3 months or so, a small gift to few of the most performing blogs, and most informative or most comprehensive blogs, like stickers and sweats and stuff. And yeah, I think that's few of the ways that you can actually contribute for Sri Lanka and Mozilla Sri Lanka and other communities as well. And feel free to like ask questions in any language you want. And meanwhile, like, we both, I don't think we can just barely understand Tamil, but single line English, don't worry. You can just ask in any language, and you can just use chat, or you can just unmute if it's possible and ask any question. And feel free to ask any question whatsoever. It doesn't have to be a really structured or really polished out question, something like that. Just ask any question. Yeah, feel free. Hasarindu?
Yeah, okay. So do you guys have any questions? Anyone? Okay, it seems like there's no questions. So okay, so let's conclude the event, right? Yeah, sure. Okay. So thank you all for attending this webinar. We hope you found it very informative and engaging. And I would like to once again thank Mr. Danushka. Danushka Aya, thank you very much. I know Danushka and both Lahiru Aya, you guys have very busy schedules, and I know it's a big commitment So thank you very much for sharing your expertise and doing this for us. Thank you again for all the participants for participating. This would be a great opportunity for all of you. So uh, let's fill the form and join with us. So, and I also like to extend my special thanks to Professor Halim and Professor Sabras, their support and for their support and making this event possible. Remember to follow the Mozilla Campus Club of SEUSL for future events and opportunities to get involved. So have a great day. We hope to see you soon again. Good day, everyone.
Thank you, Hazel, for inviting us. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.